After we broke the rudder, we try to project one system to fix it on the water. We wanna try to making one shoes in carbon fiber outside to the water to glue underwater for making the end of the rudder nice and smooth and protect the eventuality continuity of the lamination making from the speed and the vibration.
Welcome back to Sailing NV, where after an unfortunate incident where we hit some reef with our 3.5 metre rudder and lost a sacrificial part of the bottom, Timo came up with an ingenious solution to protect the rest of the rudder underwater and keep it all together. Our rudder is made of PVC closed cell foam covered by carbon fibre, so without this solution the two sides would have most likely opened up and delaminated from the foam due to the vibration from the motion when the boat is sailing. Due to our unusual choice of cruising boat, especially with its 4.5 metre keel, it's tricky for us to find a haul-out solution, especially in more remote cruising areas, so an underwater solution was vital for us.
The rudder you don't know because you don't be with us in that day, but yes, when you're sailing with one big racing yacht with a 4.5 meter draft and 3.5 on the rudder, can happen that sometimes you touch something and our rudder lose it one small parts. After that moment we laminate underwater for prevent
You put like a shoe on, didn't you?
Yeah, I laminate one shoe and I glue with epoxy underwater. These shoes in carbon fiber made in a vacuum from me when we lost one big portion of rudder like this. Something like 35 centimeter. This is the sacrificial parts of the rudder. The rudder is in form of closed shell. Really, I don't have too much worry about the water and humidity, but immediately in one mold I laminate the shoes and I glue with epoxy underwater plus mechanical attachment by screw. And we seal the rudder, we continue to sailing because that's happening immediately in Fiji.
This was such a cool solution from Timo, we want to show you in detail how he made it. We started the morning after the incident by first inspecting the damaged rudder. Then he went down and cut off the broken part. Initially, we mixed up some underwater 2-part epoxy putty to seal the exposed part of the rudder to prevent more water getting in there. With the bottom of the rudder sealed for now, next it was time to think about how to make a more permanent underwater repair. Timo wanted to make a shoe to fit on the underneath of the rudder, but first he needed to test what kind of glue he would be able to use to attach it underwater.
We have to try to do an experiment for see if the Bostik silicone work underwater. Allora, the idea is if the silicone go to cure and dry underwater, we imagine to put the Sika here is a Bostik glue, and now we go to glue underwater. We leave underwater for a few hours and we see if it's cure or not. I go in. Nemo, togli la testa. Bravo, guarda. Set. Now We let to cure underwater. Have to find one piece of heavy stuff to keep down. Okay, test silicone underwater with the brand Bostik. It's a completely cure in 5 hours. Hold a lot of stress. It's very glue. Okay. But by the way, you see the laminated foam, but the silicone is dry and have a lot of capacity mechanic. If there is a lot of force you can remove, but look like one good solution. Next test is epoxy. Second test with the low density epoxy filler. We try to glue fiberglass painting to foam. This piece is already wet. Fiberglass painting to foam. 1, 2, 3. And foam to foam. Foam to foam. Underwater. Now one weight for keep to glue below the water. Test done. Today we are ready for check how can be the test yesterday. Epoxy filler glue underwater for see if managed to have keep the characteristic of rigidity and capacity of glue. Yesterday we glue foam by foam, foam by fiberglass. Fiberglass with a primer and painting. We want to know how much capacity of mechanic have. The first thing we notice is cure, is quite good. Allora, mechanic perpendicular work quite well. Mechanic by traction work by well, but I already saw I can remove. But let me see. This one I don't expect to have the maximum glue because there is a primer and painting on the top to fiberglass. Okay, but also from the foam, allora the glue from the foam keep some elasticity. This is because it's a low density micro balloon, but on the top to the primer is very strong, it's quite good. On the top to the foam and foam by foam, what we see is not too much the epoxy filler break, but it's because the foam delaminated, but still one good system. It's very similar to the Bostik silicone we use it for the first test. The only thing is more rigid and less elastic, but it's good, it cure, it's completely cure. We wanna try to making one shoes in carbon fiber outside to the water to glue underwater for making the end of the rudder nice and smooth and protect the eventuality continuity of the lamination, making from the speed and the vibration. When I have the positive mold, I go to use it for laminate one shoes in carbon fiber, very skinny. If everything work well, that the shoes go to be exactly copy to the stereo to the end of the rudder. Like this, have something fit perfectly. After with only some epoxy filler, I go to glue and screw it for keep in position. We see if it work.
To make the shoe, Timo needed to cut off a skinny section of the bottom of the rudder so as to be able to copy the shape accurately. For all these underwater jobs, we're really lucky to have battery operated dive gear from Blue, which allow us to work underwater for extended periods of time. If you'd like to see more about these awesome pieces of kit, I'll put a link in the description.
Okay. After we broke the rudder, I tried to project one system to refitting fix it on the water. We cut out in the V shape, like you see, because it's a two cut. One cut go inside like that, one cut go inside like that. In V shape for making nice form. We cut the bad parts of the rudder. Now the rudder is very clean and there is a very low delamination.
To prevent further damage, Timo also glued and clamped together the delaminated edges of the rudder.
Exit, we fill is good. Adesso we think about the second part of the job, but now we have to wait when this one on the water dry. Finish. Here Timo from the workshop of MV. We start to do the job for laminate one shoes for the missing parts of the rudder. I made one model approximately to the end of the rudder. It's in PVC, butyric tape for keep all together, and some parts of the old rudder I cut. Now I go to recover with the biaxial 45 minus plus 45, and I already greasing with the mold the release grease the shoes model. Now I go to mix the epoxy and start to laminate. Okay, you don't see too much because the lamination in carbon is below. After there is a peel ply. I'm very happy because the carbon managed to be bent on the whole corner, and the profile on the back and profile in front is very good. I wrap it everything with the skinny plastic transparent film for food for keeping form and tight everything. Always here from my workshop. Shoes carbon to the rudder, start to take a form. Now last lamination with the twill after it's ready. Last layer of carbon, I use the twill. It's a very good lamination. The lamination is very tight on the back and on the front. Very happy. Now let to cure for 8 hours and we see how can it is. Watch, pure carbon.
Wow.
Just for one shoes. Beautiful.
We checked that it fitted and then painted it with epoxy primer and anti-foul, ready to attach. And so finally all that was left now was to glue the shoe on underwater. First, Timo sanded the area it was going to be glued to. What are you doing now?
Mixing the epoxy.
We used epoxy in the end rather than the silicone as we felt the attachment would be stronger. The epoxy is more rigid, whereas the silicone was more flexible and over time would be more likely to loosen. So you're just going to glue it on and screw it?
Yeah. my mind I have to have more because the epoxy have to squeeze out the water. I go to bring more, it's better to do coil. Shoes.
We used ropes to keep the shoe attachment under pressure while it cured. And there we have it, the finished shoe glued with epoxy onto the bottom of the rudder. This repair held up well for the next 2 years of cruising with no sign of weakness or reduction in performance. We have now finally made it to a boatyard in the north of Borneo, so stay tuned to see how we are now repairing and re-extending the rudder out of the water. If you enjoyed this video, we'd really appreciate it if you could like, comment, share it with your friends, and don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. If you'd like to support us on Patreon or with a one-off donation, I'll put the links in the description. Thank you.